6 Reasons Why People Play You for a Fool. Denzel Washington, Stoicism. True love is not about giving everything without expecting anything in return. It's about knowing when to give and when to protect your own peace. Denzel Washington. Life often presents us with difficult lessons, and sometimes our kindness can be misused by others. If you've ever felt taken advantage of because you're always giving or hesitant to stand up for yourself, you're not alone. It's crucial to recognize when these patterns are happening so that you can make the necessary changes for your own growth and happiness. In this video, we'll dive into 6 key reasons why people might play you for a fool and how you can avoid being exploited. So what changes will you make today to protect your well-being? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's learn and grow together on this journey of personal empowerment. Welcome to Stoic in Your Life. Number 1. You give too much. Have you ever found yourself feeling drained, like you're giving so much of yourself, your time, energy, or resources, only to realize it's not being reciprocated? Perhaps you've prided yourself on being generous, always there to help others without hesitation, but over time that kindness starts to feel more like a burden. This happens because when you give too much without boundaries, people begin to expect your help as a given. It's not that they're inherently malicious, but human nature tends to undervalue what's freely available. Think back to a time when you supported someone repeatedly, perhaps a friend who was always in crisis, or a colleague who leaned on you for advice. Did you notice how their gratitude diminished the more you gave? This imbalance isn't just frustrating. It's a signal to reassess how you show up in relationships. Stoic wisdom teaches us the value of boundaries and reminds us that we cannot pour from an empty cup. As Marcus Aurelius might say, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Setting boundaries is how you reclaim that power. It's not selfish, it's a sign of self-respect. Imagine telling yourself, I will no longer give to the point of resentment. I will give in ways that uplift me, not deplete me. How would that transform your relationships? Would those around you begin to appreciate your efforts more if they knew it wasn't an endless supply? Boundaries not only protect your energy, but also teach others the value of your generosity. Here's a story to make it real. A man named David worked tirelessly at his job, always volunteering for extra projects and staying late to help his colleagues. He believed his dedication would earn him respect and appreciation. At first, people were grateful, but soon they started piling their responsibilities onto him. One evening, as he sat alone finishing a report someone else had neglected, he realized he'd become the office go-to for everyone else's problems. He decided it was time to make a change. The next day, when a coworker asked him to cover for them yet again, David kindly but firmly said, I can't today. I have my own priorities to handle. At first, people were surprised, even frustrated, but over time they adjusted. They began to respect his time because he respected it himself. By setting boundaries, David not only protected his energy, but also showed others that his support wasn't something to be taken for granted. Doesn't this make you wonder how setting similar boundaries could change your life? The secret lies in understanding that being kind doesn't mean being endlessly available. Stoic secrets remind us that our time and energy are precious commodities, and like any resource, they need to be managed wisely. If you find yourself constantly giving without limits, ask yourself, are you valuing your own needs as much as you value helping others? Are you teaching people to respect your boundaries or to exploit your lack of them? Think of boundaries as a gift, not just to yourself, but to those around you. They create space for healthy, reciprocal relationships where kindness is a mutual exchange, not a one-way street. So next time you feel the urge to give without pause, take a moment to reflect. Is this generosity truly serving both of us, or is it coming at my expense? By honoring your limits, you not only protect your own well-being, but also elevate the quality of your relationships. The lesson here is clear. You don't have to stop giving, but you must give wisely. Boundaries are the armor that allows your kindness to shine without leaving you vulnerable. Let others learn that your time, energy, and care are gifts, not obligations. By doing so, you'll foster relationships rooted in respect, appreciation, and balance. How will you start setting those boundaries today? And more importantly, how will that choice empower you to live with greater purpose and peace? Remember, self-care isn't selfish, it's the foundation of true generosity. Number 2, you ignore the red flags. Red flags are not just minor inconveniences. They are warning signs that indicate something isn't right, even if you can't immediately explain why. These signs often take the form of broken promises, inconsistent behavior, or actions that don't match someone's words. Yet many people dismiss them, either out of fear, hope, or the unwillingness to confront an uncomfortable truth. Instead of addressing the issue, we justify their behavior, convincing ourselves that things will improve or that we're being too critical. However, ignoring red flags is like pretending a leaking roof will fix itself. It might seem manageable at first, but it will eventually cause lasting damage. Consider someone who regularly cancels plans without a valid excuse. At first, you may give them the benefit of the doubt, thinking they're just busy or having a rough time. But when this becomes a pattern, it reveals a deeper lack of consideration for your time and feelings. By ignoring this behavior, you risk setting yourself up for disappointment and frustration. As Epictetus wisely observed, circumstances don't make the man, they only reveal him to himself. A person's consistent actions, not their promises or intentions, reveal their true character. While Stoicism promotes empathy, it also emphasizes protecting your peace and recognizing when to step away from situations or people who undermine it. Ignoring red flags doesn't just affect relationships, it can impact every area of your life. Whether it's a friend who constantly takes advantage of your kindness, a coworker who disrespects your boundaries, or a business deal that seems too good to be true, these signals exist to guide you. Modern Stoicism teaches us to value inner tranquility and not compromise it for the illusion of someone else's potential. Hoping that someone will change or that a situation will improve often leads to wasted time, energy, and unnecessary suffering. Change, when it happens, must come from within and cannot be forced or wished into existence. Seneca's timeless wisdom reminds us, fate leads the willing and drags along the reluctant. By acknowledging red flags, you take control of your life rather than being pulled into situations that may harm you. Trusting your intuition when something feels off isn't overreacting, it's an act of self-respect. When you listen to that inner voice, you honor your values and protect your well-being. Ignoring these signs, however, sends a dangerous message to yourself, that your boundaries and feelings are not worth respecting. Over time, this erodes self-esteem and leaves you vulnerable to further harm. Recognizing red flags and acting on them is not selfish. It's essential for self-preservation. It creates space in your life for genuine connections and opportunities that align with your values. Walking away from people or situations that continually disregard your boundaries teaches others how to treat you and reinforces your self-worth. Those who truly care about you will meet your standards instead of expecting you to lower them. As Marcus Aurelius famously said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. This strength lies in knowing when to walk away and prioritizing your peace over external validation. Ignoring red flags is a disservice to yourself. Trust your instincts, value your boundaries, and have the courage to act when you notice the signs. By doing so, you align with the Stoic principle of living in harmony with reason and truth. Protecting your peace and prioritizing your integrity ensures you don't sacrifice your well-being for the hope of change that may never come. Always remember, your time, energy, and emotional health are too valuable to be wasted on situations or people that consistently show they are unworthy of them. Number 3, you forgive too easily. Forgiveness has always been celebrated as one of humanity's greatest virtues, offering a way to heal emotional wounds and find peace. Stoic philosophy, in particular, views forgiveness as a path to liberation from anger and resentment. As Seneca once observed, anger, if not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it. However, forgiveness without accountability can lose its value, potentially becoming a tool for others to exploit. In modern Stoicism, forgiving too easily means surrendering control of your boundaries and, ultimately, your own peace. Unconditional forgiveness can enable harmful patterns, allowing others to believe their actions carry no real consequences. Imagine a dynamic where promises are consistently broken, or your feelings are dismissed without remorse. Offering forgiveness each time without expectations only perpetuates this behavior. Such actions often worsen as the offender grows more comfortable, knowing their mistakes will always be excused. True forgiveness requires a balance. It's not about excusing poor behavior, but about freeing yourself from resentment while protecting your emotional well-being. It involves enforcing boundaries to ensure others respect your kindness and effort. Boundaries are essential to making forgiveness meaningful. Without clear expectations or consequences, forgiveness is ineffective, much like planting a seed in barren soil. Marcus Aurelius offered a timeless reminder: be tolerant with others and strict with yourself. This does not mean enduring mistreatment indefinitely. Instead, it calls for a balance of compassion and self-respect. If someone repeatedly disregards your boundaries and shows no effort to change, walking away is not bitterness. It is an act of self-preservation and integrity. In our fast-paced, hyper-connected world, relationships often blur the lines between respect and overreach. Forgiving too quickly can become a habit, whether to avoid conflict or maintain an illusion of harmony. However, harmony built on ignored boundaries is unsustainable. Modern Stoicism teaches that forgiveness should serve your inner peace, not perpetuate cycles of harm. It encourages self-awareness, helping you assess whether forgiveness is an act of strength or a way to sidestep discomfort. Done thoughtfully, forgiveness releases resentment and sharpens your focus on what truly matters. A key practice in modern Stoicism is self-reflection. Ask yourself, is your forgiveness rooted in genuine remorse from the other person, or is it an attempt to avoid confrontation? Forgiving without accountability risks eroding your sense of self-worth and encouraging disrespect. True forgiveness must coexist with expectations for change and mutual respect. If the other person values your relationship, they will honor these boundaries. If not, your forgiveness can be a final act of closure, freeing you to move forward without bitterness. Leaving toxic relationships or harmful situations doesn't mean you are unforgiving. Instead, it demonstrates an understanding of your worth and your right to a healthier environment. Forgiveness becomes disempowering when it allows others to exploit your kindness repeatedly. Instead, let it reflect your independence from anger and your commitment to self-respect. By pairing forgiveness with clear boundaries, you create space for respect to flourish, encouraging personal growth and accountability in others. Forgiveness is about freedom, not just freedom from anger, but freedom to live authentically and purposefully. When practiced wisely, it ensures your kindness is not mistaken for weakness. As the modern Stoic navigates the complexities of relationships, forgiveness becomes a deliberate choice that embodies wisdom, strength, and dignity. Remember, forgiveness is a gift you give yourself, not an obligation to endure harm. By balancing forgiveness with accountability, you protect your peace, preserve your values, and foster more meaningful connections in life. I'd love to hear your thoughts on today's video. Have you ever found yourself giving too much, ignoring red flags, or forgiving too easily in your relationships? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I need better boundaries, or I've ignored red flags before, or forgiveness needs accountability. And don't forget, watch all the way through to the end of the video, because the last 3 tips are packed with surprises and insights that you won't want to miss. Number 4. You stay silent when disrespected. Have you ever stayed silent when someone disrespected you, convincing yourself that keeping quiet was the mature or more composed response? Perhaps you thought staying silent would help avoid conflict or maintain peace. While it may seem like the easiest option, silence often comes with a hidden cost: your self-respect. By remaining silent when someone crosses your boundaries without addressing it, you may inadvertently send the message that their behavior is acceptable. Consider a time when a colleague interrupted you in a meeting, or when a friend dismissed your opinion. Did you let it slide, telling yourself it wasn't worth the argument? If you stay silent long enough, that behavior is likely to continue or even escalate. What starts as a small annoyance can build up into frustration, and frustration can easily turn into resentment. Let's face it, resentment is a heavy burden to carry. It can cloud your judgment, affect your peace of mind, and create unnecessary tension in your life. As the Stoics taught, self-respect is essential for a balanced and resilient life. When you don't speak up, you not only allow the mistreatment to continue, but you also diminish your own sense of worth. Here's a story to illustrate this point. Amanda worked in a fast-paced office where meetings were frequent and ideas were valued. She noticed a colleague, Tom, repeatedly interrupted her during discussions. At first, Amanda stayed silent, thinking, he probably doesn't realize he's doing it. But over time, the interruptions became more frequent, and her ideas were overlooked. Amanda realized that her silence wasn't helping. In fact, it was allowing Tom to continue his behavior. One day, she decided enough was enough. The next time Tom interrupted, she calmly but firmly said, "Tom, I'd like to finish what I was saying before we move on." The room fell quiet for a moment, but Tom nodded, and Amanda continued. From that day on, Tom interrupted less, and her colleagues started to take her more seriously. Amanda's silence had been interpreted as permission for Tom to keep interrupting, but when she spoke up, she set a clear boundary. Does this make you think about your own boundaries? How many of them have been overlooked simply because you haven't voiced them? The key takeaway here is that standing up for yourself doesn't mean being confrontational or dramatic. It means calmly and confidently expressing your needs and boundaries. If you've been avoiding confrontation because you fear it will come across as rude or selfish, consider this. How can anyone respect your boundaries if they don't even know they exist? Speaking up is not about creating conflict. It's about protecting your self-worth and ensuring others know how to treat you. As Denzel Washington once said, you have to be brave enough to hold others accountable for how they treat you. Stoic teachings remind us to focus on what is within our control, and your response to disrespect is always within your control. Why is it so difficult to speak up? Often it's because we fear judgment, rejection, or conflict. But here's the truth. People will respect you more when you respect yourself. Stoic philosophy emphasizes courage and rational action. By calmly asserting your boundaries, you not only teach others how to treat you, but you also protect your peace of mind. Next time you face disrespect, ask yourself, am I staying silent because I fear confrontation, or is it because silence truly aligns with my values? If it's the former, it's time to speak up. Your silence doesn't serve you. It only perpetuates mistreatment. By saying, I don't appreciate being spoken to that way, or I'd like to have my ideas heard before we move on, you assert your worth without being aggressive. These are simple declarations of self-respect, not demands. The lesson here is clear. Silence is not always golden. Sometimes, silence is a quiet acceptance of mistreatment, and over time, it erodes your dignity, bit by bit. So, the next time your boundaries are violated, take a moment to reflect. Ask yourself, am I staying silent because I fear judgment, or because silence truly aligns with my values? If it's the former, it's time to speak up. Stand firm in your boundaries, not through aggression, but with calm, assertive confidence. When you do, those who respect you will adjust their behavior, and those who don't aren't worth your silence. Always remember, your voice is a powerful tool. Use it wisely. and others will follow your lead. How will you assert your boundaries today? Number 5. You see the best in everyone. One of the most admirable traits a person can possess is the ability to see the best in others. Believing in the potential of those around you speaks to your inherent empathy, kindness, and optimism. This perspective allows you to lift others up and find possibilities in situations where others may see only limitations. It's a quality that fosters deep, meaningful connections and can inspire change in those around you. However, while your optimism and belief in others' potential are commendable, this trait can sometimes have unintended consequences. Your intentions are clear, to support and uplift others. Yet, your boundless optimism can sometimes obscure the reality of someone's actions. It's easy to focus on what a person could become rather than accepting who they are in the present moment. This idealistic view can lead you to overlook consistent patterns of behavior that don't align with your expectations, resulting in repeated disappointment and emotional harm. When you place too much emphasis on someone's potential, you risk ignoring their current actions and accepting behavior that doesn't meet your needs, values, or desires. For example, think about a friend who consistently cancels plans at the last minute. Each time, you forgive them, holding on to the hope that they will eventually change. You might convince yourself that with enough patience they will eventually prioritize your friendship and honor their commitments. Yet their behavior remains unchanged. Their actions reveal their true priorities and values, which may not align with yours. This recurring pattern of behavior can be disheartening. It forces you to confront the reality that the person may not be as invested in the relationship as you are. The optimism you hold on to can blind you to the truth that change cannot be forced. As Stoic philosopher Epictetus wisely stated, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." This advice reminds us that hoping someone will change to meet our expectations often leads to frustration and heartache. True transformation can only happen when the individual chooses to change for themselves. Believing that others will meet the standards you set for them can also hinder your personal growth. By waiting for others to change, you might prevent yourself from moving forward in your own life. You may become trapped in a cycle of unmet expectations, while the other person continues their behavior without facing the consequences. Your well-meaning optimism in this case can unintentionally enable poor behavior rather than encouraging meaningful change. The reality is that change cannot be imposed from the outside. It must come from within. Genuine, lasting change happens when an individual decides for themselves that they want to grow, not when others expect it from them. By holding on to unrealistic expectations, you risk being repeatedly let down, expending emotional energy on a transformation that is unlikely to come. This can lead to feelings of frustration, resentment, and emotional exhaustion, while the other person continues their behavior without any real growth. Modern Stoicism offers valuable insights into how to navigate relationships and personal expectations. It teaches us to live according to reason, focusing on what is within our control. What we can control is our response to others' behavior, our ability to set boundaries, and our decision to honor our own needs. Relationships thrive on mutual respect, trust, and accountability. They are sustained by both parties contributing and growing together, not by one person hoping the other will change. To protect your peace and emotional well-being, it's essential to establish firm boundaries and embrace relationships with individuals who value you for who you are, not just as a chance for them to prove themselves. It's important to be mindful of the expectations you place on others and to remember that genuine growth comes from within. By accepting people as they are, you create the space for them to evolve on their own terms while preserving your emotional health. You deserve relationships where you are seen, heard, and valued, without needing to wait for others to change. The key to maintaining healthy relationships lies in embracing reality and accepting others as they are. Relationships should be built on mutual respect, understanding, and shared values. This approach will not only protect you from disappointment, but will also foster authentic, fulfilling connections. By setting realistic expectations, You allow yourself to thrive and build relationships that are based on genuine growth and mutual support. Number 6. You're afraid of being alone. The fear of loneliness is a powerful emotion, one that can drive us to make decisions that don't serve our best interests. It's easy to fall into the mindset that any relationship is better than no relationship at all, but this often leads to settling for connections that are unfulfilling or even damaging. The fear of being alone can blind us to red flags and push us to tolerate poor treatment, all in the name of companionship. As Epictetus, a prominent Stoic philosopher, reminds us, it is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows. In this case, the knowing is the mistaken belief that being with someone, anyone, is better than solitude. But this mindset robs us of the opportunity to discover our own strength and true happiness. When we cling to a relationship out of fear, we trade our self-respect for temporary comfort, often ignoring our needs and compromising our values. Consider the example of staying in a relationship where you feel unappreciated, disrespected, or undervalued, simply because the alternative, being alone, seems too daunting. This choice traps you in a cycle of dissatisfaction, preventing you from finding the joy and fulfillment you deserve. Modern Stoicism teaches us to challenge these fears by seeing solitude not as a weakness, but as a chance to cultivate inner strength. Instead of fearing being alone, embrace it as a period of self-reflection, growth, and preparation for better relationships in the future. Loneliness is not a punishment. It's an opportunity to reconnect with yourself and redefine your priorities. Solitude, when viewed through the lens of personal growth, is a gift. It offers the time and space needed to focus on yourself, to ask important questions. What do I truly want in a relationship? What values are non-negotiable? What kind of person am I becoming? And what kind of partner complements that? When you take this time to reflect, you begin to heal, to set new standards, and to understand that your worth is not defined by your relationship status. Being alone does not mean being unworthy of love. It means valuing yourself enough to wait for the right connection. Marcus Aurelius, another great Stoic thinker, advised, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." When you embrace solitude, you can begin to shape those thoughts and build a foundation of self-love and respect. In today's world, where social media constantly bombards us with images of couples and idealized relationships, the fear of being alone can feel even more intense. It's easy to compare your life to others and assume that being single equates to being incomplete. But modern Stoicism challenges this notion by reminding us that true contentment comes from within, not from external validation. Use solitude as a chance to break free from unhealthy patterns and prepare for relationships that align with your values and aspirations. When you stop fearing loneliness, you take back your power and create space for a love that is genuine and reciprocal. Being alone can be a deeply empowering experience. It allows you to set boundaries, rediscover passions, and build a life that reflects your true self. In solitude, you are free to heal from past wounds, grow stronger, and clarify what you will and will not tolerate in future relationships. Choosing to be alone rather than settling is an act of courage and self-respect. It sends a message to yourself and others that you know your worth and refuse to compromise it. As you embrace this mindset, you cultivate the confidence to enter relationships from a place of strength, not fear. The fear of being alone is just that, a fear. And like all fears, it can be faced and overcome with the right perspective. Modern Stoicism teaches us to focus on what is within our control, our thoughts, choices, and actions. Don't let the fear of loneliness dictate your life. Instead, see solitude as a stepping stone toward the relationships and happiness you truly deserve. Remember, it's better to walk alone than with someone who doesn't value you, and in solitude, you might just find the most important relationship of all, the one with yourself. Have you ever stayed silent when disrespected, ignored red flags in a relationship, or stayed in an unhealthy situation because you feared being alone? If you can relate, comment yes or 1 below. And remember, be sure to watch until the end of the video as we dive into 6 ways to protect yourself. You won't want to miss the incredible insights that will truly empower you. 6 ways to protect yourself. Number 1. Learn to set boundaries. People often wonder why they feel like they're being played for a fool by others. The truth is, there are several reasons why this happens, and understanding them can help protect your self-worth. One of the first steps is learning to set boundaries. Boundaries are essential for maintaining mental, emotional, and physical well-being. Without clear boundaries, people can take advantage of your kindness, using you without regard for your needs. It's easy to fall into the trap of saying yes to others, even when it drains you. But here's an important truth. Setting boundaries isn't selfish. It's an act of self-respect. When you make your needs clear, you teach others how to treat you. Think about a time when someone constantly relied on you but never gave anything back. How did that make you feel? If you didn't set boundaries, you allowed that behavior to continue. Stoic secrets show us that maintaining boundaries ensures a healthy balance in relationships, where mutual respect is key. Enforcing these boundaries might be uncomfortable at first, but it's necessary to preserve your peace of mind. What would happen if you started setting firm boundaries today? How much more respect would you receive? And how would you feel about yourself? Another key reason people feel disrespected is by allowing others to take advantage of you. There are those people in our lives, friends, colleagues, or acquaintances, who only reach out when they need something. They don't seem to recognize your worth unless it benefits them. You might feel guilty about not supporting them, but Stoic secrets reveal that these people are draining your energy without offering anything in return. This one-sided dynamic can be frustrating and make you feel undervalued. Recognizing when you're being used is the first step toward protecting your energy. It might feel awkward to distance yourself, but your mental and emotional health should come first. You deserve relationships built on mutual respect and care. Ask yourself, am I investing in this relationship for the right reasons, or am I simply avoiding the discomfort of letting go? Take a modern example. Imagine being part of a work project where you contribute ideas, stay late, and put in hard work, but a teammate constantly takes credit for your efforts. At first, you let it slide, thinking it's part of teamwork, but eventually, you start to feel taken advantage of. This scenario is all too common, but it can be avoided by setting boundaries and speaking up. Instead of staying silent, calmly express your thoughts by saying, I want to make sure everyone's contributions are recognized, or, it's important that we acknowledge all the hard work we're putting in. By asserting yourself, you set the tone for future interactions and stop being played for a fool. A third reason people feel disrespected is by letting others define your worth. It's easy to seek validation from others, but when you rely on others' opinions to shape your self-image, you give away control over your sense of value. Stoic secrets teach us that true self-worth comes from within, not from the approval of others. Think about how you felt when receiving compliments or criticism. Did it change how you viewed yourself? If you let others define your worth, you'll always be at the mercy of their judgment. Instead, embrace your inherent value and let it guide how you move through the world. Finally, consider self-awareness. Many people are played for fools because they don't fully understand their own value or what they want. Without self-awareness, it's easy for others to manipulate you. By taking time to reflect on your needs, desires, and goals, you'll gain clarity and learn how to protect yourself. When you know your worth and what you want, you're less likely to settle for less than you deserve. To prevent being played for a fool, start by setting firm boundaries, distancing yourself from those who drain you, stopping others from defining your worth, and practicing self-awareness. Stoic secrets offer us the wisdom to live with confidence, clarity, and respect for ourselves. By embracing these principles, you can create a life of fulfillment and peace. Remember, you are the author of your own story. Take control, set boundaries, and demand the respect you deserve. When you do, those who truly value you will rise to the occasion, and those who don't will no longer have power over you. So, how will you begin to take control of your life today? Number 2, trust your intuition. In a world filled with complexities and uncertainties, trusting your intuition can be one of the most powerful tools for self-protection. It's a gift we all possess, yet often fail to recognize or acknowledge. Our instincts are finely tuned to pick up on subtle cues and underlying patterns, often alerting us to situations or people who may have less than noble intentions. This innate sense can help you navigate tricky circumstances, avoid manipulation, and preserve your peace of mind. When something feels off, whether it's a sudden sense of unease around someone or a nagging doubt about a situation, your intuition is often sending a clear signal that something isn't right. Modern Stoicism teaches us to trust our own perceptions and reactions, emphasizing the importance of staying grounded and aware of what is within our control, including how we interpret our emotions and responses. While it's easy to ignore or dismiss these intuitive nudges, especially when we are eager to believe the best in others, doing so can expose us to emotional harm. For instance, if you sense discomfort around a colleague who continually makes excuses for their behavior, your gut is likely telling you that something is amiss. You might be tempted to overlook these feelings because the person in question appears well-intentioned, or perhaps you want to trust that their actions are accidental. However, as the famous philosopher Seneca once said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Ignoring your instincts in such moments can lead to wasted time and emotional energy, spent on individuals or situations that don't serve your well-being. These moments of inner dissonance are often trying to protect you from being taken advantage of or manipulated. When you dismiss them, you may find yourself stuck in a cycle of frustration, betrayal, and self-doubt. The key is to listen to your emotions, as they are powerful guides. If you feel anxious, drained, or angry in a particular situation, those feelings often stem from a deeper source of discomfort or a violation of your boundaries. Your body and mind are sending you signals that cannot be ignored. In modern life, many of us are taught to suppress our emotional responses in favor of maintaining peace or keeping others happy. However, suppressing these emotions can leave you vulnerable to exploitation. As the Stoics remind us, we must recognize the boundaries of our own control, knowing what we can change and what we cannot. By trusting your intuition, you are choosing to act in accordance with your deeper understanding of what is good for you, rather than what others might want from you. Take time to reflect on situations where you feel uneasy or uncomfortable. When you feel emotionally drained or irritated by someone's actions, it's worth pausing to examine why. Is it because they've overstepped a personal boundary? Or are they repeatedly breaking promises without any real accountability? Modern Stoicism teaches us the power of self-reflection and rational thinking, being able to step back and consider the reality of a situation without being overly swayed by emotion or external pressures. Trusting your intuition doesn't mean letting fear rule you. It means honoring the wisdom that resides within you, recognizing the subtle signs that protect you from harm. For example, if you sense that a business deal is not as straightforward as it seems, or if a new friendship starts to feel one-sided or manipulative, pay attention to those early warning signs. Instead of dismissing them in favor of optimism or the hope that things will improve, take a moment to assess the situation critically. As Marcus Aurelius famously said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." By trusting your gut and setting clear boundaries, you're protecting not just your peace but your integrity as well. Trusting your intuition doesn't mean acting impulsively, but rather pausing to listen and reflect. It's about honoring your instincts while grounding them in rational thought. When you allow yourself the space to process your feelings and perceptions, you create a protective shield around yourself, allowing you to make choices that align with your values and well-being. This is especially important in today's fast-paced world, where it can be easy to overlook personal cues in favor of pleasing others or avoiding conflict. In trusting your intuition, you are asserting control over your own life, making decisions that safeguard your emotional and mental health. By acting in alignment with your inner wisdom, you can avoid unnecessary distress and foster healthier, more fulfilling relationships. Number 3. Speak up effectively. Effective communication is one of the core principles of modern Stoicism, serving as a vital tool to safeguard ourselves from being manipulated or exploited in today's fast-paced world. When we fail to express our thoughts, feelings, and needs clearly, we inadvertently create space for others to misinterpret our silence. This can lead to situations where we are taken advantage of without even realizing it. For example, imagine a colleague who regularly asks you to take on extra work without offering any compensation. If you remain silent, they may assume you're okay with the additional responsibilities, leading to more demands without any thought of fairness. By not speaking up, you allow others to treat you in ways that may be uncomfortable, all because they don't realize the boundaries they are crossing. Clear communication, then, is not just important, it's essential. Speaking up is not about being confrontational, but about expressing yourself in ways that promote mutual respect, fairness, and understanding. Assertive communication helps to set boundaries, ensuring that your needs are understood and respected. When you communicate effectively, you create an environment where relationships are balanced and interactions are more productive. In particular, addressing issues as they arise, rather than letting them fester, can prevent bigger conflicts down the road. This proactive approach not only makes interactions smoother, but also demonstrates that you value both your time and the time of others. Using I statements is an effective technique for communicating your feelings without sounding accusatory or defensive. For instance, instead of saying, "You're taking advantage of me," you might say, "I feel uncomfortable when my time is not respected." This shift in language helps maintain a calm, constructive tone, showing that you are taking ownership of your emotions and approaching the conversation with a desire for resolution rather than conflict. It ensures that you can speak your truth while also fostering respect and understanding. In both personal and professional relationships, it's crucial to communicate clearly. Staying silent when you feel disrespected or overlooked can lead to further exploitation, because the other person may not realize their actions are harmful. When you speak up, you teach others how to treat you with respect, while also asserting your emotional boundaries. By doing so, you protect your own well-being, ensuring that your needs are met and that you are not taken advantage of. Speaking up is an act of self-respect that shows others you deserve to be treated with consideration. Remember, speaking up is not just about defending yourself, it's about fostering healthier, more respectful interactions with those around you. Open, honest communication helps to strengthen relationships by clearly expressing your expectations. As the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius wisely stated, "The best way to avenge yourself is to not be like that." This quote highlights the power of controlling your own behavior and communication instead of waiting for others to change. By setting the tone for how you expect to be treated, you create an environment of respect that benefits everyone. Modern Stoicism teaches us that self-respect is fundamental to leading a fulfilling life. The courage to communicate our feelings and needs is empowering, contributing to personal growth and resilience in the face of life's challenges. By taking responsibility for how we communicate and setting clear boundaries, we not only protect ourselves from exploitation, but also create the space for deeper, more meaningful relationships. When we apply these principles, we build a foundation of mutual respect in which we can thrive both personally and professionally. Speaking up is about more than just protecting yourself. It's about asserting your worth and creating relationships based on fairness and respect. By expressing your needs with confidence, you ensure that you are never taken for granted and that you maintain your dignity in all aspects of life. Do you often find yourself staying silent when disrespected, or struggle to set boundaries with others? If you've ever felt like you're being played for a fool, comment yes or 1 below. And be sure to watch until the end of the video because we've got even more valuable insights coming your way. The last 3 points are packed with surprising and powerful takeaways. You won't want to miss them. Number 4, respect and love yourself. Have you ever felt like people were taking advantage of your kindness, pushing your limits without hesitation? Maybe you found yourself in a situation where you're constantly giving, yet you're left feeling drained, unappreciated, and empty. This scenario is more common than you might think, and the root cause often lies in one critical aspect of life: respecting and loving yourself. The way we treat ourselves sets the stage for how others treat us. When you don't respect and value yourself, people may start to take your kindness for granted, exploiting it without remorse. However, when you understand your worth and establish clear standards for how you should be treated, things begin to change. This is where Stoic secrets come into play. Stoicism teaches the importance of self-respect, understanding who you are, what you stand for, and refusing to allow others to diminish your value. Have you ever had a friend who constantly asked for favors but never offered anything in return? Or perhaps a colleague who took credit for your hard work without acknowledging your contributions? These are just some examples of how people can exploit your generosity, and it's easy to let it slide, thinking it's easier to avoid confrontation. But what happens when you don't speak up? You may be allowing that behavior to continue unchecked, without realizing the damage it's doing to your emotional well-being. The truth is, self-respect means knowing your worth and standing firm in what you deserve. When you find yourself in relationships where you're constantly giving but never receiving the same care or effort, it's a signal that something needs to change. Loving yourself doesn't mean you're selfish. It means recognizing that your needs, feelings, and energy are just as valuable as those of others. If someone's actions are constantly draining your energy or making you feel unimportant, it's time to take a step back and evaluate whether the relationship is truly serving you. Stoic secrets also remind us that it's essential to protect your peace by setting boundaries that protect your emotional health. This is where the power of self-love comes in. When you practice self-respect, you begin to make choices that prioritize your well-being over the fear of losing people or avoiding conflict. Take a moment and think about your own life. Are you giving more than you're receiving? Are you tolerating mistreatment because you fear being alone or losing someone? Many of us fall into the trap of thinking that enduring poor treatment is just part of being in a relationship, but this only leads to resentment and burnout. Instead, start to recognize the importance of self-love and set healthy boundaries. Whether it's a friend who always asks for favors or a colleague who consistently takes credit for your work, it's essential to speak up and communicate your needs clearly. For example, imagine you're in a friendship where you're the one making all the effort, initiating plans, doing favors, and supporting them. But when you need something, they're nowhere to be found. This starts to drain your energy, and you begin to feel unappreciated. The key to breaking this cycle is to step back and focus on your own needs. You could say something like, "I need to take a break from always being the one to initiate plans," or "I can't keep giving without receiving the same in return." This simple shift allows you to regain control of your emotional well-being. By practicing self-respect and self-love, you take back your power. You stop tolerating relationships that drain you, and you start setting boundaries that protect your peace and dignity. Ask yourself this: how much better would your life be if you started prioritizing your own needs and values? How would your relationships shift if you began to set clear boundaries? The beauty of self-love is that it doesn't just protect you, it teaches others how to respect and value you too. What steps will you take today to love and respect yourself more? What boundaries do you need to set to ensure you're treated with the care and consideration you deserve? The answers to these questions hold the key to transforming not only your relationships, but your entire life. By embracing Stoic secrets, you can create a life that honors your worth, nurtures your well-being, and protects your peace. And as you start practicing self-love, you'll notice that those who truly value you will rise to the occasion, while those who don't will fall away. Number 5. Set clear expectations. Clear expectations are the foundation of healthy, balanced relationships, offering a framework that helps define mutual understanding and respect. Without clear communication of needs and boundaries, relationships, whether romantic, professional, or familial, can become unbalanced, leading to frustration and resentment. This imbalance often occurs when one party unknowingly takes advantage of the other's willingness to give. For example, if you're always the one putting in the effort to make plans or stay connected, the other person may start to take it for granted, assuming you're always available. This can happen unintentionally, but it highlights the importance of setting and communicating clear boundaries. Setting expectations isn't about being rigid or controlling. It's about expressing your needs in a way that promotes mutual understanding. Modern Stoicism teaches us that while we can't control others, we can control our actions and responses, including how we communicate our needs. For instance, in a romantic relationship, setting clear expectations about communication, time together, and emotional support ensures both parties are aligned. Similarly, in friendships or work environments, establishing what you need in terms of time, energy, and commitment helps avoid misunderstandings and potential burnout. When expectations are vague, one person might inadvertently demand more than the other is willing to give, causing tension. Setting clear expectations also involves listening to the needs of others. Healthy relationships are a two-way street, and both individuals must be open to discussing and understanding each other's expectations. These conversations, whether about time, emotional support, or personal boundaries, help ensure that both parties are on the same page. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "What we do now echoes in eternity," emphasizing that how we communicate and set expectations today shapes the future of our relationships. By creating clarity, you prevent unnecessary misunderstandings and lay the groundwork for stronger, more fulfilling connections. Moreover, setting expectations is essential for preventing resentment from building up. Unmet needs, when left unaddressed, can silently erode a relationship, leaving one or both parties feeling frustrated or emotionally drained. It's crucial to recognize when your needs aren't being met and express how you feel. Stoicism teaches us not to let emotions control us, but it also emphasizes the importance of recognizing when boundaries have been crossed. If you're feeling neglected or unheard in a relationship, it's essential to speak up. Addressing the issue calmly can prevent negative emotions from festering and ensure both sides understand each other's needs, ultimately strengthening the relationship. In today's fast-paced world, where distractions like social media and work pressures are ever present, setting clear expectations is more critical than ever. People often feel overwhelmed or unappreciated because their needs are not clearly communicated or respected. By defining and expressing your boundaries, you create space for respect and understanding to thrive. This not only benefits your relationships, but also supports your emotional well-being. As the Stoics remind us, it's not external circumstances that affect us, but our responses to them. By setting clear expectations, you take control of your relationships and avoid being placed in situations where you feel exploited or taken advantage of. This proactive approach fosters stronger, more respectful relationships, where both individuals feel valued. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect and understanding, which can only be achieved through open communication. By taking the time to set and communicate your expectations, you lay the foundation for trust, empathy, and fairness. Setting clear expectations is not just about preventing frustration or resentment, it's about creating the conditions for growth and connection. As modern Stoicism teaches, while we can't control the actions of others, we can control how we communicate and respond to the dynamics in our relationships. By setting boundaries and expressing your needs, you play an active role in shaping relationships that are healthy, balanced, and fulfilling for everyone involved. Number 6. Build a supportive network. Building a strong support system is one of the most crucial steps you can take to protect yourself from exploitation, as modern Stoicism teaches the importance of surrounding oneself with wise, supportive individuals who can offer guidance during difficult times. In today's fast-paced world, where manipulation and self-interest are often at play, having a network of friends, family, or mentors who genuinely care about your well-being can make all the difference. When you're faced with someone who is overstepping boundaries or making unreasonable demands, having trusted individuals in your corner, allows you to gain valuable perspective. These people can help you see things from a clearer viewpoint and provide you with the advice and reassurance you need to navigate these tricky situations. It's easy to fall prey to someone's demands when you're isolated, but a strong network helps you evaluate whether your own feelings of discomfort are justified, and it equips you with the courage to speak up and set boundaries. It's important, however, to recognize when someone in your life is not supportive, or worse, is using you for their personal gain. A key aspect of modern Stoicism is understanding the importance of maintaining your integrity and being mindful of the people you allow into your life. If you notice that a relationship is one-sided, where the other person consistently takes more than they give, it's time to assess whether they truly have your best interests at heart. We often get caught up in the expectations of others, feeling obligated to please them, but true support should be reciprocal. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, associate with people who are likely to improve you. A supportive network is not just about having people to talk to, but about having those who encourage your growth and well-being, not those who drain your energy or take advantage of your kindness. The value of a strong support system goes beyond just having someone to talk to in times of crisis. It also means knowing when to lean on others for emotional and mental support, without fear of judgment or hesitation. Modern Stoicism teaches that seeking advice or emotional care from others is not a weakness, but a strength, as it helps you make decisions that align with your values and well-being. Sometimes, the perspective of someone outside your immediate situation can shed light on blind spots you might have missed, helping you make wiser choices. A trusted network offers more than just advice. It provides reassurance in the face of adversity, giving you the strength to stand firm in your decisions and act in ways that are true to your principles. In today's world, where manipulation is all too common, creating a safety net of people who truly respect and care for you is essential to maintaining your emotional health. A strong support system gives you the foundation to stand up for yourself and advocate for your needs. It's easier to resist exploitation when you're not doing so alone, and when you have people who genuinely care for your well-being, they'll remind you of your worth and help you make decisions that protect your peace of mind. By surrounding yourself with individuals who align with your values, you create a protective barrier against negative influences, ensuring that you are not easily taken advantage of. The famous philosopher Epictetus, a key figure in modern Stoicism, once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Having a supportive network gives you the strength and clarity to react in ways that protect your well-being and uphold your integrity. Having a solid support system is not only about protecting yourself from exploitation, it's about building an environment where you can thrive, confident in your relationships and decisions. True support is not about being rescued from every challenge, but about being uplifted and empowered to face those challenges with strength and wisdom. It is through these genuine relationships that we can cultivate resilience and remain grounded in our values. By choosing to surround ourselves with people who respect, value, and encourage us, we create the emotional safety net that allows us to make the best decisions for ourselves, free from the manipulation of others. Through modern Stoicism, we understand that our relationships shape our ability to thrive, and by fostering a supportive network, we are better equipped to face life's challenges with confidence and clarity. In conclusion, self-reflection is crucial in identifying when you're being taken advantage of. If you recognize any of these behaviors in your relationships, it's time to take action. Setting boundaries, listening to your intuition, and valuing yourself are all essential tools to protect yourself from exploitation. You deserve relationships that are balanced and reciprocal, where respect and care are mutual. Don't hesitate to assert your needs and make the changes necessary to create healthier, more fulfilling connections. Remember, your kindness should never be exploited, and setting boundaries is a key step in ensuring you're treated with the respect you deserve. If you found this video helpful, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to Stoic in Your Life for more insightful content. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss an upcoming video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.